You're-
Welcome, everybody, to our second weekly check in for the Healthy You 2022 Spring Cleanse. We're so happy you're here. I know. Yes, we're getting some pumps, some elbows up. We're so happy you're here. There's been a lot going on for all of us. I can't wait to get into the trenches with you guys. But first, I want to give a little overview to our meeting today so you can be aware. At any time, of course, write questions, comments in the chat. We're going to get to those. But we're going to have a whole section at the end for taking yourself off mute and sharing one at a time if you have questions or issues that you want to discuss, right? So that's coming up. But first, we just want to welcome everybody and let you know that we have the great good fortune to have Dr. Josie Schmidt with us, a naturopathic physician from Portland, Oregon. She happens to be with my best friend in Vermont at the moment, but she's going to be joining us today and talking in depth about the process that we're in this first 10 days, and then also some of the things we could be experiencing and why that is and what we can do about it. So I wanted to start with just checking in with Dana. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling so much better. Thank you. Yep. I do have residual cough still, which is interesting. It feels very digestive. So like I don't know how else to describe it, but like a cold phlegm from a Chinese medicine perspective, where it's not there, it's just kind of frothy.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel so much better, and I only feel it in the morning. So I'm kicking it. But I've also had a very busy week moving my mom here. So there's a lot going on. So it's not
Awesome.
surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks for
Congratulations.
asking.
Yeah, yeah. So, I just wanted to say a little bit about my personal experience because I'm not going to be asking questions or commenting at the end. This cleanse, I just wanted to say, is different for everybody, right? And not only is it different for everybody, it's different each time we do it, right? So I wanted to just use myself as an example. I'm going to get a little vulnerable here. But when I started, Josie's going to love this. When I started with doTERRA 8 years ago, I was so sensitive that taking one Terrazyme gave me diarrhea. And that was weird. The doctors were like, they didn't want to make me feel bad. But that was a little unusual, right? And so I was very, very sensitive and triggered in the beginning. I feel so different now. And I'm not saying it's going to take you 8 years. Hopefully, this process, starting cleansing earlier, is going to be a better opportunity for you guys to shift things a little quicker. I waited to start doing the cleanses. And I just feel so amazing making better choices, knowing we've created this containment, this container of all of us, this community of cleansers together. It gives me the confidence and the fortitude to make better choices. I think about you guys, right? You're with me. I'm not going to cheat and I'm not going to falter because I don't want to do that because I'm doing this with you. So thank you for being here. I really appreciate your being a part of this cleanse community. I see Nikki Dean, she's everybody's part of it. So I wanted to say that, right? We're all different, we're all biodynamic, and we're all in a different place in our digestive health right now in March 2022, right? We talk about the mental, emotional, and how we're navigating a lot right now, right? On the world stage. And maybe and even in your own house, we don't even know what's going on. So, all of that said, I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Josie. Hi, Helen. And she's going to talk to us a little bit about these 10 days that we're in, the 10 days of prep, and what's actually happening in our bodies and what we might be experiencing. So take it away, doctor.
Thank you, Asha. I might even call everyone, hopefully we'll go into conversation and questions. But Asha and I were talking earlier, and that's such a pivotal, important point that everyone is at their own pace. and in their own place with this. And so there, in a sense, there's no normal. There can be kind of symptoms that tend to be more common or uncommon as we work, for over many years and see people cleansing. But everyone has their own normal. And so for Asha, she really had to slow down. And one thing you'll hear a lot of us saying, and me saying, is I kind of coined this term, too much, too soon, too fast, for some people. So a lot of times individuals need to pull back a little bit with the protocol and just go slower and at their own pace. So I love that point. And so this is Baby. She's joining us. She's a parakeet. She might start pecking at the thing. And so where we all are is this first phase, right? It's kind of that preparatory phase. If you've been working with the healthy habits of doTERRA that we work with and we talk about a lot, it's not that different in a sense. It's kind of doing the full healthy habits up and getting up to full steam with them for this first phase and adding a few extra things in. Okay, maybe we'll get Baby off the computer. So let's talk about that, because I believe it's Thursday, right? So Florence corrected us. Yes. So today's Tuesday. In 2 days is when we're going to start phase 2. So phase 1 is kind of getting everything ready, all of our pathways, getting the nutritional foundation cellularly so that we have those minerals, those vitamins, all the things that we're finding in the Lifelong Vitality Pack, and kind of nurturing our pathways in our cells. And then we're bringing in things like the Zendocrine oil gel, as long with the Zendocrine detoxification complex and the enzymes, and using all of those to help now support those pathways a little more specifically. And then with the greens and the fiber, and then even the Slim and Sassy, metabolically for blood sugar, and the citrus oils in the water, right? All of that. It's kind of like I like to say, it's like a symphony of all of these things gently, but coming together to support all of your different, not only your microbiome and your digestion, but your pathways of elimination. Because on Thursday, phase 2, the only difference is we're going to take out that gel cap of the Zendocrine, and then we're going to add in the GX Assist. And you keep everything else the same. We'll talk about how you might want to up some things, right? You could, depending on what's going on for you, increase in dose some of the things you're already taking, but you're adding in that GX Assist. And the GX Assist, frankly, is the killer. It is the big puppy microbiome. I'm thinking replanting. If you think about the garden, it is bringing in the killer for the weeds. We're getting the weeds out. We're getting the unhealthy microbes, however you want to speak about it. Dysbiosis, we say, the old kind of way of talking about dysbiosis or an unhealthy microbiome was like yeast having an overgrowth of candida. It's not just yeast, though. The yeast are kind of this overgrowth. There's also bacteria, there's virus. They all kind of work together in an unhealthy milieu. And we want to uproot we could call those weeds, uproot those, and then bring in the healthy ones and all the food to feed the healthy ones. So that food is really represented a lot in the fiber complex with the prebiotics, and the healthy gut bugs are in the PB Assist, which is phase 3. So phase 2 is where in cleanses, I would say in general, we tend to see some of the more discomfort, digestive things that can come up because you're pulling out the weeds. You're killing off these yeasts, these microorganisms that, in a sense, their insides are toxic to us. And when there's a term called die off. When they die off, they open up. It's called lyse. The cell kind of releases. It's like a balloon that gets punctured, and the insides of their cells then get exposure through our bloodstream to our system, and it doesn't feel good. So that's where a lot of these there's different terms. If people have heard a Herxheimer reaction or a die-off reaction, that's what that can be, as those cells are opening up and being killed before we get them out of the body. And the getting out of the body is really important, because the quicker you get that stuff out of the body, the better you're going to feel. I just read Asha. Let's talk poop today. So yeah, we're going to get to it.
Wait, can I ask you a question, Joes?
Yeah.
So that's she was describing phase 2. Just to be clear, everybody, right?
Just
We're still in the first.
2.
Yeah. So I just want to ask you a question about phase 1.
Yes. So I just wanted to lay that groundwork of like where we're going. So let's come back to now. Okay, where is everyone now? What's been coming up? Do people have questions? Yeah.
So here's my question. The Zendocrine gel cap and the Zendocrine herbal complex. We're taking those, we're taking our Terrazyme, we're upping our water, right? Is this in a sense like priming the pump? Are we like loosening? Like, I don't know about you guys, but is anybody else pooping more than they ever have in their lives? I mean, am I the only one? Okay, good. Yeah. So this is what I've been feeling like this is the first time, by the way, and I've done this cleanse many times and haven't had this. But I feel like this priming the pump and really starting to clean that out is creating then the space for that. Is that right, Josie? For phase 2, to have it be a deeper colon cleanse, this part, we're getting the small operators out of the way. Is that right?
Yeah, we want to make sure that our pathways of elimination, and probably the most important one is our bowels, are ready and letting and open. The gates are kind of open and ready to release. We don't want a response, because a lot of time our systems, if we're very new to even an up level of what's in the Lifelong Vitality pack of this kind of level of intense nutrition, and what's in the alpha CRS, which is a lot of antioxidants, and it works a lot of our pathways, just that can kind of make a system go, wait, what's going on? This is really different. And so depending on your own personal tendencies, that wait response can look different. Some people it can be diarrhea. Some people it can be constipation. Some people it's like, wait, so we want to kind of see where people are in this first phase before we move into the second phase, and make sure people are ready to be and releasing. And so, they're Josie, already releasing and it's too much. Let's talk about that too. Yeah.
There are quite a few in the group that have had digestive discomfort, some constipation.
Yes.
And then we have someone saying in the comments here now they've had less bowel movement. So I think that would be good to speak about now, because we do have a few days. And that has been coming up for sure.
Okay. So, I'll speak to the, let's say the we're dealing with a lot of times a slower, older, I'm going to say it, an older digestive system. A more common reaction is a slowing, like, whoa, it doesn't open up as quickly. So the things that are our friends are all of this, the first thing we're always going to say is drink more water.
You're talking about constipation, right?
Yeah, we're talking about constipation, or just Mara said for me, it was the opposite, less bowel movements than usual. So the system's kind of holding. So there's water and then there's movement. Those are our first kind of baselines. Then with all that we're doing, and then you look at diet. So are you adding in more fiber in your diet for the cleanse? Are you taking out the things that are less fibrous, and kind of, I would say, even more than focusing on taking out, like sometimes we say, I'm not drinking alcohol or sugar or carbs. The focus in this case should be adding in. So add a full extra serving of cooked and raw vegetables daily. So just focus on adding that in. So these are some baseline things. Then we look at the supplements. And so the things that we have that are for helping to keep the whole system moving and more balanced in that way are the Terrazyme, digestive enzymes, the Zendecrine gel cap, the Zendecrine complex, and then the fiber and the greens for this. So those would be the things we want to focus on, and sort of seeing that. Is there someone like, does someone want to speak up if you don't have, because I know there's been some ordering issues with like the greens or the Zendecrine. So if people don't have those, we can look to some other things that are outside of doTERRA, or we can up those things.
And also, just hold on one second. Please write in the chat, everybody, if you're drinking the greens and the fiber, if you don't mind. We just want to get a feel for who's using those products and who isn't. Go ahead, Joes.
Yeah. So if things are slowing down, what I like to have people do is, we've been recommending the 5 for the Terrazyme, correct? So it's 1 in the morning, 1 before bed, and then 1 with each of the 3 meals daily. Now, what I really like to focus on is keep up with the meals, but then with the cleanse, I actually like to focus on the morning and the evening and doubling up on, so 2 Terrazymes when you wake up in the morning and 2 before bed, and 2 Zendecrine complex, the white and orange bottle, not the gel cap, one gel cap, and 2 of those. And then as you continue through in phase 2, continue with that at both ends or just 1. And the best, I would say that if you're going to choose one, I would say before bed. So go up to 2 Terrazymes and 2 Zendecrine complexes. Dana, do you have any, as for a standard, anything else to add? And then we have all of the other things that are for helping all of our pathways of elimination. Sorry, I just asked you, but then I was just like, oh yeah. So this is, we're using our oils and doing a little massage on the belly. So using something like Digest Zen with some carrier oil, and right, our colon works that we start on the right hand side, down right inside of the inner hip, right? And you go up, over, across to the left, and down. So you can kind of make a circle of it, up, over, down, and having any of the oils. Digest Zen is a great place to start with this, and rubbing, and kind of, you can start to use your hands flat. There's a little bit of a massage in, and this is nice to do on your back with your knees up. Yeah, and you can then use the base of the fingertips down and kind of roll and rub into, and do a little bit of a colon massage down and around. There's the castor oil packs as well, which we have in that section, and working with those. Mm-hmm.
Josie also mentioned movement. So are we getting out and walking every day? Are you doing a few stretches, maybe a few twists every day? Are you moving your body, stretching? Maybe if you've ever seen cat-cow in yoga or Pilates, they do cat-cow, moving their, I think I'll do a video with this later today and put it up on the thing. Dina, did you want to add?
Well, I was just going to bring in the movement as well, but also, like we talked about it, I think on the page where I said, maybe bulk up with a couple extra layers when you're going for that walk, so you generate a little sweat and open up those detox pathways that way. That can sometimes, sweating actually sometimes can help getting the bowels moving, because then we drink more water. Sometimes when we keep drinking water, but we haven't moved out the water except for through our urination pathway, it's hard for it to actually go in and absorb. So the other practice I like to mention is the Soleil. And it's a salty water that you can drink first thing in the morning. This is a really good way of actually getting more hydration in, and it's in the extra practices as well. I think that's all I wanted to add. I love that Soleil. I just ran out of mine this morning, and I'm redoing it as soon as possible.
Yeah, that's great.
Just for the sake of time, should we go to questions?
I'm looking, I want to answer a couple of the things in the chat.
Before you answer that, can I just add one more thing about this when we're talking about movement? And Asha, I'm sure you're probably going to add this one in if you do a video, but a really great way to massage your digestive tract is lie on your back, hug one knee into your chest, and just hold it down towards your belly. And as you breathe in, your belly will press into your thigh. And as you breathe out, your belly empties and you can draw your knee just a little bit closer. And just that alone can massage your digestive tract. I would start on the right side with the ascending colon, move to the left side, descending colon, and then do both knees and you get the transverse colon. So you get the whole digestive tract. It's really simple and it feels really good. If you have back problems or back pain, just keep the opposite leg bent instead of straight. It feels good. You can straighten it. So I hope that is clear.
Fantastic, Nikki. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, maybe you can demonstrate that, Asha, in your video. Yeah. Emily's saying, what is Soleil water? Soul water. So it's basically a salty, using salt in your water in a specific kind of preparation. And we have it. Do you want to say where it is to remind everyone where these references are, Dana? And also a sheet on Castor Oil Packs is there. We have some great references for helping to support lots of the different kinds of pathways of elimination.
I think it's in one of the guides. I was trying to look it up right now while we were chatting.
In the guide.
But it's guide 7 on the Facebook page. I don't believe it's up in our website. Here is a link for it for those of us that are here, and you'll get all the instructions on how to do it and what's there. It's also up on in that group.
Great. So if you see I'm drinking, we doing a combining of the greens and the fiber. So that's what it's quite sweet when you combine both of them. So if your taste buds tend towards sweet, you can do that. You want a kind of a big, I've been filling this and filling it up with water. You want a kind of a big thing of water. I also like to separate them. I love to have the fiber powder warm, and it really tastes like a hot apple cider to me. And then it's nice to have the greens cooler with some of the citrus oils. Yeah, Asha's really loving on that.
Yes, I just want to say some people are mentioning it in the chat too. If it feels too sweet to you, the greens and stuff, because they are sweetened with monk fruit and different things, I do tangerine or grapefruit with the greens, and then I do a lot of water, like double what they require. Right? They ask for about this much. I drink about that much with 1 scoop of the greens, and it's less sweet with the citrus in there. So you may want to try that.
Stevia and monk fruit, actually. So they're actually, it's sugars that do not affect your blood sugar at all. So that's great. But the flavor palette is sweet. Yeah. And for people like Mara said, she's in Europe. So, the most standard fiber powders that are easiest to get are psyllium powder and ground up flaxseed. So you could try 1 to 2 tablespoons and putting that of ground flaxseed in they're really nutty, nice on salads, things like that, rather than drinking it. You don't really want to drink the ground flaxseed, but just sprinkle it on stir fries or food. And the psyllium, you kind of, depending on the preparation and how finely ground it is, you just stir it and drink it. You don't let it sit for too long. I would say for anyone who is postmenopausal or perimenopausal and trying psyllium, take a dose and then wait the next day and see how your body is dealing with it. There are some, it seems to be kind of more of a after menopause response where it can tend to bind up too much and not help flow, just some women. Okay.
Josie, there's some things in the chat. So Amy's saying she has a testimony about the cleanse feeling different this time. That would be cool to hear.
Yeah.
Go for it, Amy.
Sorry, I had to unmute too. So January 3rd was the last day that I had any alcohol. So it's been 11 weeks. But I mid-January to mid-February, I did this cleanse. I'm also in perimenopause, have been, but oh my God, the January, February cleanse, my hot flashes for cleaning out my liver were just crazy. They were absolutely like all the time, day, night, didn't matter. And before the cleanse, I had actually not had many lately. So I know that was from cleaning out my liver. And this time, last time I did not add a specific food plan, but this time I am doing Whole30 for the very first time. I have fibromyalgia, so I want to get rid of the inflammation. I have not had one hot flash this time. So
Nice.
I know there's a huge, I must have cleaned out pretty good the first time. This time, I wasn't feeling much the first week, but the last few days I'm feeling a lot more energy and mental happiness and energy. And I'm in the kitchen right now prepping dinner and making some kale chips and stuff. But I thought it was pretty cool, the difference between the first time and this time with my hot flashes.
How fantastic, Amy. I love, we learn so much from all our different experiences and each other. So that's part of this call.
Yeah. And I
Does
know I'm
anyone
not
else
supposed to weigh myself yet, but I lost 2 pounds this week. So I'm happy.
You know,
Thank you
I
for all your
was-
support.
I just wanted to point out, Amy, you remind us, and I'm experiencing the same thing right now. Food is medicine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these herbs are amazing. Don't get me wrong. The water,
Yeah.
the whole cleanse is amazing. It's
It
designed
is.
beautifully. It's a system. It's a complete
Yeah.
system. But making better food choices, the way we're choosing to eat and not eat,
Yeah.
I cannot believe the difference in myself emotionally, with my
Yeah.
sleep, with my energy. You know, as middle-aged people, we got to find energy where we can get it, right?
Yep. I'm
Good for you.
51. I'll take it,
Congratulations.
especially with chronic, I've been chronically ill for about 8 years, and working with doTERRA products and my mentor trying to heal the last 5 years. And I'm feeling to the point where I feel like this cleanse and this eating is going to give me a great jump start to healing. So I'm really grateful. I'm grateful for your support. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
I wanted to piggyback off of that. Thank you, Amy, so much. Someone else in the group was asking if I'm going too fast, can I do this for 60 days? So I just wanted to say, here Amy is sharing how she did it and now she's doing it again. Absolutely. This is not something that is it's not an invasive cleanse. But you also want to see how you're going. So if you need to slow down, and maybe it's not exactly 60 days, maybe it's 40 days, right? So I don't know, Josie, if you want to speak to that, because that's your timing thing, but there's definitely some people who are like, I'm going to just slow it down a little bit.
There are all different ways to do this. Exactly. Some people need to slow it down and work through certain parts of the phases. As Asha said, it took her over a year to get up to higher doses of even the LLV, and then working with Terrazyme. Initially, doTERRA was working their conception of this cleanse. If you had a chronic issue that you were working with, they would advise to do it every other month for up to 6 months and then take a little break and see. And so depending on how you were doing it, they were sort of saying, 1 month on, 1 month off, and then 1 month on. And then in the month off, you're taking the LOV and the citrus in your water and working with Terrazyme and a couple of the oils, right? So doing it for 60 days for sure, and adding in other things like the Whole30, or work with your, lifestyle, your stress, your food, your movement. Dr. Louise spoke, I don't know if it was last week, the week before, and this was myself. This is round 2 for me with the cleanse, because I started in early February because I'm prepping for my very gnarly seasonal allergies, and they've gotten better, but I still have them. And for me, I really want to start quite early in cleansing in this time. So I'm not just complete. It makes such a difference for my allergic response because I'm lightening the load of my liver and my immune system's ability to deal with that challenge that starts up around May for me, April, the end of April, May.
Isn't that incredible, you guys? We think so much about our skin and our digestion and our, right, our energy, but your immune system, Josie's talking about boosting her immune system in such a way that her inflammatory response and her histematic response is less. That's amazing. I mean, this really affects everything. I want to open the floor to anybody who's having.
She wants to talk about the emotional side, and we also had someone else saying they wanted to share, Florence, about Castor Oil Pack. So let's hear from them. And before we do, I want to say the Whole30. Someone's asking, what is that? So again, do you know what, in the guides, we have a guide around kind of like, what should I do with food with this? We have a couple of different tiers and recommendations. Is that still in there, one of the guides? Yes.
Yeah, it's in there. And there is also a printout for the elimination diet recommendation. Someone was asking about that. That is also there.
So
And
just point out the guides is at the top of the page. So if you go to the cleanse page, not in the long scroll, but if you go to the very top under the header banner, you're going to see choices. And there's one that's called guides. That's where you're going to find this information.
Yeah, the guides are basically like a library. So it's where we house. So we have one on all the food things, and the Whole30 is basically an anti-inflammatory food regime where you do for 30 days a really strict kind of food program, and it really helps set things for people. So there's a lot of supportive documentation, and we have a little bit of that there. You can just Google Whole30 as well. But that's where we have a lot of our different support documents in the different guides under the, each guide is a topic. Okay, so Florence, and then Nikki, you want to talk about Castor Oil Pack? Florence?
Okay, I will certainly share. So I've always been one that was eliminated like normal, like 2 or 3 times a morning, and felt very good about it. I'm a good water drinker. I drink probably about 80 ounces a day. So this is not something that, I've neglected it. I eat, lots of vegetables and some fruits. And then I also do chicken and fish mostly, very rarely a red meat. But anyway, I decided that I was going along okay, day 5, and you guys have really shared I think the important thing is that a cleanse can be different each time. And I thought I always did okay on before when I've done the cleanse. This time on day 5, I decided that, and I was going along doing just fine, and I decided to do the Castor Oil Pack. So I got all set up. Did it. I left it on for like 2 hours. I put heat on it. I also rubbed Zinderkin oil, which was infectionated coconut oil, on my liver area. So my background is 2019, I was diagnosed with a fatty liver. And so, and I contributed to probably partial diet, but medication that I had been on, and some pretty heavy duty stuff. And so I was having spasms in my liver area. And that's why I went to the doctor, and then they sent me to have an ultrasound, and it said fatty liver. So that's, has been an issue, I knew. So when I did the Castor Oil Pack, it was very relaxing, very calming and everything. An hour later, I got really tired, more tired than normal. And so I thought, well, I'll just take a little cat nap. And so I did. I laid back and took a nap. Well, when I woke up, I had kind of a low-grade headache and nausea feeling, kind of like I had the flu. I thought, holy crap, what is going on? And so then I did all this. I do have a fear base about COVID. So I did have some fears because I had somebody come up to my house on Wednesday night and Thursday night. And I thought they would never come if they were sick, but maybe they, so I did a COVID test. That's how scared I was. So you guys really get to know who I am. it was a fear, and I had the test. So I was negative, but I had that feeling of flu-like feeling, a little bit dizzy in the head kind of feeling. And I knew to drink lots more water. On Saturday, so I did this Friday at around 11 o'clock. On Saturday afternoon, I thought I need to get outside. I mean, I didn't feel like getting out and walking, and I walk almost every day. So I got outside and walked around my property a little bit, and I just didn't feel right. So I just came back in, and later that evening, I started to feel normal. So I must have had what you guys are calling herpesine or something. I don't know, but I'm a little gun shy about going forward. I thought, oh, I do want to do the castor oil pack again, but I was thinking, okay, I'm going to do this every other day. And now I'm a little gun shy. So I need a little bit of advice on that part.
Oh, thank you for sharing, Florence.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is a great story. So there's a lot here. Yes, especially with your medical history with fatty liver. That is a situation where doing a castor oil pack for you, I might expect there to be more of a response than someone who does not have a fatty liver. So that's just something to think of. And that response that you had is very much a kind of detox reaction response. And the ways in which we all work our pathways and different pathways and detoxification pathways are very different. And I even, Dana brought up in the beginning, she's like, yeah, I had this cough, and we're in this COVID thing, like anyone with a cough, we're like, ah, but like, she's like, no, I knew, because she's a practitioner. She's like, I knew that it was a clearing cough. It was the kind, it was the kind of cough that coughs is actually a fairly common symptom of our body trying to detox and clear out. And it's a different feeling. The same way as for you, a liver response is very commonly going to feel like that. It's going to feel a little nauseous, a little bit like, oh, am I flu-y? I don't feel good. Like, I know it well because it's one of the consistent symptoms of what we call chronic fatigue syndrome, which I've suffered with ever since I went to India at 19. And so and I have a lot of gene SNPs. I have MTHFR. I've got a lot of my liver's a little like cloggy pores, it's not working on all the full engines. And so all the things I have to do just to kind of stay up to normal with normal people. And so from a different level, fatty liver, there's definitely a lot of work that you can do. It's the work we want to do is gentle. We want to do sort of slowly. We want to kind of be able to tolerate these detox reactions. And it's never fun to feel nauseous. And right. And Nikki, I mean, I can tell, I know it's not fun. And I just went, and there's another interesting part to all of these detox. So I'd like to plant the seed for everyone that we're doing a cleanse. And so it's pretty physical. And we definitely feel like this is a physical detox that's happening. But the seed I want to plant is there's always an emotional layer too. Right. And so, and when the more familiar we get with how we get sick is similar to how we detox. Right. And so I would encourage you to, how do you feel? Have you been doing the Zendocrine on your feet every day during the cleanse? And you've been taking all of the Zendocrine gel caps and the Zendocrine complex?
Yes, I've been taking the gel caps and the complex, but I had not been doing the Zendocrine on my feet because I thought, well, I've had enough, other than I thought, well, I'll do this step with the castor oil. So that's why I did my liver.
Yeah, I would not do it every day, but I would actually I think it could begin, especially when you start if you start the GX Assist, you're going to take away the Zendecrine gel cap. I would suggest doing with fractionated coconut oil once a day, Zendecrine on the bottom of your feet, the oil.
Okay.
And wait a day or two, and then try the castor oil pack again. And maybe don't do it for us. How long did you leave it on?
2 hours.
Yeah, that could be a little long. So I would suggest leaving it on for about half an hour to 45 minutes.
Okay.
And also drinking a lot. Like make yourself a cup of tea before you sit down to do it. Make sure you're drinking. And Josie, what do you think about geranium?
Yeah, it's in Zendecrine.
Instead of the Zendecrine on the underneath for the castor.
Oh,
Yeah.
sounds nice. Sound nice to you?
Yeah.
Intuitively, Florence?
Pardon?
Intuitively, is putting geranium with your castor oil instead of Zendecrine blend.
Oh, okay. Okay.
How does that just feel
That
into
does,
for a second?
yeah.
Does it feel good?
Yeah.
To you?
Yeah.
It
That
feels
does,
sweeter and gentler.
okay. I could certainly do that. And I feel like when you were sharing about the emotions too, I think that is a key factor for me with my liver, and maybe there's some anger of what's gone on in my life for the last 6 years. That you know, I think there is an emotional component to it. I think that, you know, as I know that when I wrote on the Facebook page, Healthy You page, at the end I felt this release of emotion.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, I guess I had to say that out loud, not just in my head, but out loud.
That's fantastic. You know, anger is the emotion that is usually paired with the liver. In it, it's houses and holds. And up above in the feed, someone had asked, what are the best symphonies to be doing during the different stages? So something that could be really neat, Florence, is to do a symphony every other day and a cleanse. And this might be too much. You'll have to see. And a castor oil pack on the other days, right? So alternate. And when I say a symphony, what I mean is you doing it on the bottoms of your feet yourself, a self symphony, just on your feet on one day, and then the next day do a castor oil pack.
Do you recommend which?
Well, what's coming to me as what you just said are people like with the liver and with anger and emotions. I think of Forgive symphony.
Forgiveness? Yeah.
Forgiveness one, right? What do you guys think? That's such a beautiful one, but I will warn you, it's really, it works. Like it helps to bring things up.
It certainly does. I've only had one Forgiveness Symphony of Sound done to me, and it definitely brought emotions up and tears, and so I maybe kind of avoided it. But you're helping me.
I like the idea of you doing it on yourself, on your feet.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I want one more question. So in the past, I probably only did, because it's recommended 1 to 3 a day.
Oh yeah. Okay. Let's talk about that. I would recommend for anyone who's having any kind of like difficulties with if they're more on the constipated side, or this, Florence, with yourself, or you're new, you want to start with 1 GX Assist the first day. And I would say, I don't know what they're recommending now. They've in the past, you can go up to 1 GX Assist 3 times a day. That's like the advanced dose. I would not recommend that for a first time through. What I say is, if you're new, if you're having any difficulty, start with 1 on the first day. On the second day, see how you're doing. If you feel like you want to move to 1 twice a day, it would be more like an AM PM thing. You can try that. If you're moving things out and it's not too much, then try that. And then by day 3, see where you're at again. You might want to move back to 1. if you're at the 2 a day and this is your first time through, I would say stay there. And at any point, it might be on day 5, you might find that, you know what, today I'm just going to go with 1. Now, what you're going to see is the most GI upset during this phase. What most commonly is you can definitely feel some queasiness, some farting, some cramping is one of the more common things, kind of like just gut kind of cramping, just I don't feel good, that nauseousness a little bit. Those are the, diarrhea, or just loose, but that's okay. We can handle the loose. If it gets too loose, you pull back. Okay. But that's kind of the thing. If you've done it before and you've been fine stuff, and you want to go up to the, 3 GX assist, which is like the high dose, I would say work up like 1 the first day, 2 the second day, and then go up to 3 on the 3rd day. But
So
that's really for that's level 3.
Yeah, not everybody's going to get there, right? But
Right.
just to speak to what you said, Josie, about cramping, maybe some bloating, some farting, like this is right, we're in the weeds, the roto-rooter part, right? Josie, would you say to stay the course? And if it's bearable, uncomfortable, stay the course and just cut back to 1, or remove the GX assist altogether and go back and just stay with your Terrazyme and all your other, right? Like we did in phase 1. What would you say?
Have a little bit of discomfort and a little bit of cramping and some stuff is reasonable. So to try and work with it, use oils like Digest Zen for digesting, do a castor oil pack, work with the symphony on your feet. Let's talk about the different other symphonies, and those kinds of things. You can go back and forth. One day you do 1, the next day you try 2 again. You can kind of see, so you can kind of play that way, and decide what's, if it's too much.
I also want to
People go
suggest,
through and they don't feel much at all.
right, which is wild. I also want to suggest being good to yourself, like extra good to yourself, giving yourself extra time, right? Don't put yourself in situations where you're going to be running to catch a train, or, right? Try and lower your stress levels, give yourself extra time. This is a great phase to do breath work, which I'm also going to come on and do some breath work with you guys, right? We want to be really kind and gentle and mindful of this next phase that starts on Thursday.
Yeah, as much as you can, that slowing down, less stress, allowing yourselves things like, it's very normal to have lower energy, to have sometimes some headaches. Definitely I'm seeing like emotional shifts, and then your digestion. You're asking your body to do this, like this big spring clean, like getting out the broom, doing all the stuff. This is not the time that you're going to feel like all perky. So, allow yourself some of that. If you're just tired and you don't feel like doing things and you're a little grumpy, that's fine. That's expected. I know there's other things people want to be asking. I just want to honor the question about the symphonies. So the first phase, I like symphonies like the lymph one is wonderful. During the whole thing, that's a good one to go to. It's very nourishing. Of course, the digestion is great. In the second phase, you could be doing, yes, digestion would be a good one. Lymph one. There is a hormone one that's also kind of all around and quite supportive. You can look to like the forgive if emotional stuff is coming up. I really like the solar. The solar is if you're really feeling tired and adrenally fatigued. That's kind of the adrenal fatigue symphony. So I think those are some, and then there is there's a detoxification one, right? What is that called? I don't think there is one. There's the anti-inflammatory. If you're achy, if you're feeling achy and you want just the inflammation lowering, that's a really good one. So kind of like work with what you're feeling. Okay.
Is there anybody else who has something that they've experienced? Okay, go ahead, Nikki.
Oh, sorry. I have to jump off early. So I just really wanted to share this, and it's already been touched upon, but the anger, oh my gosh, I have a really strong constitution. I'm so lucky. Like most of the time I breeze through things. They don't affect me. Alcohol's super easy for me to give up. Marijuana, not so much. And last week I was like going out of my skull. I mean, there were days that I just said to my family, like, I'm not fit for human consumption right now. Like I had so much anger coming up. I was just mad. I wanted to like throw plates. I was so mad. And Friday night in our house is usually pizza and movie night. And I was like, all I want to do is like go outside and smoke a bowl and eat a pizza. And I just like couldn't barely contain myself. And I just breathed through it. And I'll tell you what has helped me really is, first of all, just allowing myself, like I started to laugh at myself because I was mad at myself for being so angry. So just letting go of that and going, oh, it's okay. And I know liver and anger go together. So I was aware of that, but that was one. And then the other part is I realized I was unprepared for quite a few days. And then when I'm unprepared, I don't eat enough because I'm like, I don't know what to eat. I don't have anything ready to go. So I was probably hungry, detoxing, wanting to fall into some old habits, and all of it together was like this perfect storm. So just even buying cucumbers and peppers and having them cut in the fridge so I can grab them when I need something with some hummus. And this book, this is the Medical Medium Liver Rescue book. I have not read, it's huge. I've not read it, but I've just been going, I borrowed it from a friend and I spent Sunday just cooking. We made a whole bunch of recipes from there. Last night I made something in there for dinner and made sure that there's enough for leftovers. And that has just changed everything. So this book, I'll be sharing some of the recipes. I'm sorry I haven't been present on the Facebook group. But I will put some of those recipes up that I've loved, and of course added some oil adjustments too. But that being prepared and being compassionate to yourself, and also finding the humor in what's going on, whether you're pooping so much that it's like you can look at that and find it funny instead of finding it worrisome. Like that changes everything. So my word of 2022 is fun. So I kept circling back to like, oh, can I find fun in this? Can I find fun in this? And now I'm like, I'm going to leadership tomorrow and I'm supposed to start GX Assist. And I'm laughing. I'm like, my poor roommates. Oh, well, this is going to be fun. Like, it's all how you spin it. So I hope that helps you guys too. And I love what Asha said about being in this together. That's everything. I do want to make sure, I know Stacy has put in the comments, she's had a headache this whole time. It's not gone away. So if you can talk to that a little bit, and I'll watch the last 10 minutes when I get home later tonight. And I so love and appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Such great wisdoms.
Genius. Nikki. Thank you for your vulnerability and your honesty. Thank you.
So Stacy, is Stacy on the call? Is she eliminating? She pooing okay? So when someone has a headache, I want to know what's going on with their poo. And are they a caffeine user? Where are they? Are they been giving up caffeine? So what's going on with caffeine, and what's going on with their elimination, or and what's their relationship with their medical history with headaches?
So Stacy, you don't have to put your camera on, but maybe if you do your audio and answer some of these questions.
Yeah, those questions, so we can kind of just get a sense.
Hi, I'm here. I was trying to get my phone off of mute. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So yeah, I've just had a headache. It seems to be subsiding a little bit, but it's been since the afternoon of the first day, so last Monday. Okay. And I do drink coffee. I'm not a huge coffee drinker, but I have a cup every morning. So I realized it could be a little bit of a coffee detox going on as well.
Oh, and you stopped drinking coffee?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's okay.
And yeah, I stopped everything. I'm getting no sugars, no caffeine. I'm doing it all.
Oh, yeah, that's your headache. That's kind of normal.
Yeah.
If you're, if you drink a cup of coffee every morning and you are off of sugars, like when you eat change, or we think we're all big. That's a lot for your body. You can change your diet with all of that. That's pretty common to then have a headache for, I mean, it's been what, 8-9 days?
Today is day 8.
Yeah.
Right? Monday to Tuesday.
It's a little long, but so that gives you a little feedback potentially about your liver. So things might be a little sluggish. So this is good. I mean, good, you're doing the cleanse. But yeah, I always, if you're a daily coffee drinker, I like for people to be, anyways, usually going into these things, usually coffee is a 3-day headache. And some people 5 if it's a little bit of liver sluggishness, but so there could be other things going on there. But I like to, one thing to do is not to do cold turkey, but to kind of taper down, with decaf, half decaf, half calf. I used to do this whole thing, it's like half calf, half decaf for a week, and then be on decaf, and then be on black tea and green tea, and, be gentle with your body that way. And it really can decrease that kind of abrupt headache response.
Stacy, do you have peppermint oil?
Yeah, I do actually.
Okay. That
Nikki gave me some.
This would be good. Awesome. That can be a real ally for this week for you in coming off of coffee. Back and sides of the neck, the mastoid bone behind the ear, maybe even a little bit inside your temple that's in your hairline. That can really help. That's what I used to get migraines, and that's all I use is peppermint oil. So you may want to give that a try.
Okay, yeah, I'll definitely try that for sure, because I don't want to go back to adding caffeine in. I've done it for a week now, so I don't want to start with a little bit of black tea or a little bit of anything. Just gonna keep going forward. And the headaches have gone away a little bit, so I'm thinking that's probably what it was.
It's probably what it was. You could give yourself a little bit of like some really good quality matcha or green tea, because it's also quite, there's all this benefit there. And see, I mean, I always like to kind of like test my system, and then it's like, if you feel a lot better and you don't, you're like, okay, that's what it was. And then because there's also it's fantastic during the cleanse is to see what are we like if we usually do have caffeine, what are we like not on caffeine. And it's quite a difference, and it takes the adrenals quite a while long time actually to kind of depending on where we are in our life, to rebound, from that hit of caffeine. And these are all just like interesting things that we get to learn about ourselves with the cleanse, and see the different props that we're using in our life for our energy, for all of the different things, and kind of what is it like without it, what is it like with a little bit, and
also the different choices, like we have the different eating choices. There's all different kinds of choices. Like I knew I was doing Whole30 and even vegan, so I was making huge shifts for me. I was not going to take my coffee away. I have a little bit of coffee every day. I don't put sweetener in it. I'm not putting cream in it. I'm just having, right? But I just knew that chemically I'm shifting so much that I just didn't want to be, I wanted to be able to think and be a part of this group. Anyway, thank you so much, Stacy, for sharing.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
I know we have so much. I mean, I wanted to go up and with Susan, and then also what Erin just said, but Susan was like responding about the energy. You're like, if I have any lower energy, I'll be dead. And yes, anger, I'm trying to contain my anger, right? And there's that connection between like if suppressed anger and our energy levels. And, an interesting thing, Susan, I would say be gentle with yourself, but somewhere, if you want to experiment with the forgiveness symphony of the self.
I've had that on my mind. I want to try that, but I'm doing a lot of business oriented stuff. I'm trying to launch my business and start a YouTube channel. And I realized that my ability to focus and my stamina is so low that I better do something. And that's when I said, I saw this cleanse, and I'm doing really well with keeping up. I've never done a proper dose of LLV. So that's where I'm doing that. I'm keeping up with it. I hate the lemon, I hate the water, but I'm doing it as much as I can. Forget the walking. I'm not walking anywhere except to the kitchen and back, and maybe not even that far. But I'm not dead, so I keep trying, but there's
Well,
and I've got my greens and my fiber, and they're sitting on the counter, and they've never been opened. But sometimes I move them from one side of the counter to the other, but I've never taken them.
All right. Can we get your?
I have to respond to that.
Do you want to tell us? Do you want to commit to us that you're gonna try one of them?
Let me inspire you, Susan. I get so much energy from the greens. I told Dr. Josie this 2 weeks ago, that I started doing a scoop with a big thing. You can put your tangerine or lemon or whatever you have right in there. Do your scoop, drink it. I feel like I'm on jet fuel from those greens.
From the greens. Okay.
Yes.
I'll commit to one, but not two.
Yeah.
And I've tried the fiber before, and they're okay. That's okay. But I've never tried the greens.
So I'm going to recommend
Try the greens
after breakfast. So in the first quarter of your day, after breakfast, after your supplements, in between breakfast and lunch,
do a green. Okay.
Big greens.
That's a deal. Thank you.
Great, Susan. And I'm going to say where I would expect you to kind of get a burst of energy and feeling kind of more and better is kind of at the end, like after the cleanse, like while in it, there's stuff coming up. As I said, it's normal for people to feel sluggish and like, I want to take a lot of naps and such forth. So let's wait and see how you feel afterwards. And I would also, if you haven't been taking the Mito 2 Max along with the LLV at the end later after the cleanse, and you're not taking all these other things, but it's just the LLV, I would recommend to consider adding that in.
I was taking that, and I was taking the Deep Blue prior, but I haven't taken either of those. I really want to keep it simple so that I don't get discouraged.
Yes.
And I'm expecting good things to happen at the end. And I probably will try to moderate into a second 30 days and try to, I love that what the lady said about her second try around. With her hot flashes and all, although I don't even remember hot flashes. That was so long ago. I'll tell you, the other thing in my life is end of life issues are, my husband's very ill. And so there's a lot of stress, of, it's almost like, and then there's a war and the world is falling apart. And I think, wait a minute, where's my serenity and adaptive at nighttime, but I haven't been sleeping. It's been horrible. So anyway, thanks for letting me share.
Yes, we are in trying times.
I'll message you, Susan. I have some other suggestions.
So, anyone, Dana, Aaron says, Gabe and I both lost our voices, wondering if we're sick, it's the cleanse. That's an interesting question. I have that is definitely could be within the realm of a response to cleansing. It also could be a response to getting sick. So I am not sure the answer, but I just wanted to say it's a really good question, and let the group know that you want to be asking these things as symptoms are coming up. Like, is this, and you can Facebook that, is this a possible reaction to detoxing and cleansing rather than just like a normal sick? Because a lot of the same, it'll be a lot of the same symptoms, and it doesn't mean that you're contagious. It means that your body is getting rid of a lot of old stuff, and it's a little, gooey and unpleasant in the process. And it can feel similar to a lot of ways in which we get sick. So.
Okay, I want to be mindful of everybody's time, and we're at 4 minutes after. I just want to open it up for one last person, if you've been shy, if you want to speak to Dr. Josie and get some feedback, go ahead and unmute yourself. Now is your moment. Virginia.
Okay, I did put in the chat, but I'm just curious, and I hope this isn't too much information, but I have been pooping more than normal, some with diarrhea, a little bit of diarrhea, some with constipation. But the thing that I'm noticing, and this is strange for me, is, you know, the saying, my shit doesn't smell well. It's the smell is actually kind of sweet. As if there is any, you know, if I smell anything, it's that. Is that normal? Is that part of the cleanse? What does it mean?
Yeah, so you're saying it's kind of it's more pleasant than normal. It's not
Yeah,
expected to be stinkier than normal.
yeah, I don't even have to turn on the fan.
Right. That's
Yeah.
really interesting. I mean, that's definitely possible. It's a shift and it's a change. So I think we expect to see shifts and changes. And you said you're not doing caffeine and alcohol, right?
Right.
You're changing. Dana, do you have any? I'm trying to think with caffeine, alcohol.
Well, I mean, a very healthy poop doesn't really smell that bad.
Right. It does not.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. So
You didn't have a lot to kind of detox in a stinky way, right, Dana? And that you've gotten to the point where your system is like just more healthy poo.
and I'm just going to leave space for the fact that we're stepping into phase 2. And so in phase 2, you might kick up something new, right? There might be another layer of stink or something that might come through. So, but it is generally, that's a healthy poo. Like, you know, young infants, their poop doesn't really smell, right? Like that's a good thing.
Yeah, I forgot that. It's been so long ago. Okay.
Thanks
All
for
right.
asking.
Thank you.
Thank you, Virginia, for bringing up poo. I was hoping we'd talk about poo. Dr. Josie loves to talk about poo.
I know, and I didn't even get to talk about colonics or enemas, which, you know, is my other.
You'll have to come back.
I know.
Come back.
You know, that's the next level. That's next level cleansing is bringing in enemas and colonics. Yeah.
Dana, is there anything you want to talk about? We want to remind them of the switch that's coming up, but
I think we'll just honor everyone's time. We're almost 10 minutes after. So I will have the recording up for the Facebook groups and also on the website. So if someone wants to go back and review, that'll be really soon. And I think that's it. Josie, any last words of wisdom?
No, it's a wonderful group. Thank for everyone for showing up, and it's perfect timing, you know, with everything that's going on in the seasons and in the world for all of us to be cleaning out our houses so that we're able to show up as best that we can. So
yes, happy spring. Happy spring. We passed into spring during this cleanse. I love that. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week.
thank you, Dr. Josie.
Thank you, Josie.
And we'll see you soon.
okay,
Yes.
bye.
Yeah.